Welcome to We Talking About Sports podcast. Guys, it's been a while since we've done a recorded podcast. We've been doing really good with the Thursday night lives, Sunday morning sit downs, but we had to do it a little different because now we got the NBA season back. MLB finished. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to just erase that from our memory as much as possible.
We're going to be
we got some
guys.
NBA and we got some UFC. UFC 267 just happened and 268 this Saturday. Back-to-back pay-per-views. Big time card, like Roland said. We definitely got to cover that. So that's what's on slate for today. Boys, what's up? How was the weekend?
It was a good weekend, man. Good weekend. Just glad to be here. Like you said, recording again. We were doing the lives. We had to give the people what they wanted. The NFL got off to a crazy start this year. There's a lot of pretty good games on Thursdays, so that's why we were going live on Thursdays. Had to do those for the fantasy. But like Justin said, NBA starting up, and there's a couple of slow games here on Thursday, starting with this one that we're going to be probably recording through the Jets and the Colts. Yeah, so not really too interested in that game. But, yeah, glad to be back, man.
These lines are moving a lot bigger now. You got a 10.5 spread tonight. I think at the beginning of the season, this line would have been a lot closer, but it seems like the public was winning big time. Ben, is that true?
Well, supposedly, Vegas had been getting hit the hardest it's ever been hit. Prior to last week, the previous 2 weeks, a lot of favorites covering.
But parlays left and right.
Yeah, glad to be back recording. I know we had a bye week on Sunday, didn't go live, but we will still be going live on Sundays, an hour or our 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock spot, fantasy, all that good stuff, contest plays. But yeah, man, glad to be back recording, talking multiple sports in one podcast and not, just sticking strictly to our Thursday night run through with football. But yeah, was it a pay-per-view this past weekend, Justin? I was surprised as hell.
They gave it up for free. They gave it up for free.
Yeah, to get a free brunch card, considered pay-per-view, but it was free.
Wait, it was free?
It was on ESPN Plus. Yeah, you just have to have ESPN Plus.
I don't think that's how it was planned. Maybe it's because nobody bought the card. So
yeah, I thought I was over here, streaming it. I was streaming it, thinking it was at cost. I could have done it for free through ESPN Plus. Yeah, it was a nice change up considering it was in the daytime. You didn't have to wait till night. It didn't really interfere with any of the games either for college football.
Yeah, no, it was actually pretty nice. Like I said, it was a surprise to me. I was about to fire up the Fire Stick, baby. But no, I went to ESPN Plus, and a buddy had actually texted me. He's like, Ben, you paid for the pay-per-view? I was like, no, I got a Fire Stick. He's like, oh, well, it's free as long as you have ESPN Plus. So it was badass. Didn't have to get that occasional, maybe little pause for a second or two. But it was good. It was an awesome card. I know that we're going to get into it a little bit later. But yeah, man, NBA, NBA's back in action. The drama has already started. With NBA, it doesn't take long. So happy to be back here on a Thursday, man, recording, getting into a little bit of longer episodes and covering more ground.
As you were talking about the dramatics in NBA, I have to say some of these fan bases are just so toxic on Twitter. I've already thought about muting my own Lakers Twitter because it gets hectic. And the people that you agreed with last year, who you thought, we have the same vision for the team, they change up fast. A little bit of losing, and we haven't even lost with 3 games, and the world's over for the Lakers already. When you go to Laker Twitter right now.
Yeah, but I mean, with the expectations, you can't be losing games to the Oklahoma City Thunder. You know what I mean? They beat my Rockets by 2 points the other night. It's just, a team, and obviously it is new pieces and stuff, but it's a team that you have very high expectations for. So you expect them, to get through some of these teams just based off of talent level and experience. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They have the names, but like, bro, it's the Lakers, bro. So when it's all good, it's kind of like the Cowboys, to the Super Bowl championship. With that team, it's championship or bust. So I understand why people are freaking out. They haven't looked the greatest. We'll get into it a little bit. And, tonight LeBron isn't playing against OKC. So it is a rematch from the game that they lost last week. But, yeah, as me with being a Rockets fan, we're in the middle of a rebuild. We're just watching all the young guys and seeing if one of these dudes can become the guy.
Well, how nice is Jalen, though?
He can be a chucker. Some games when he's off, he obviously has to keep shooting just because he is, maybe the second best player, if not the best player on the team. I would still say Christian Wood is the best. I got love for Christian Wood. Christian Wood's averaging, 21 and 13. So I still got love for Christian Wood. He had 26 and 16 against the Lakers when we lost by 2. But Jalen Green has shown flashes, man. I know he went 5 of 10 against the Lakers. This past Sunday, he had 26 points. He had a dunk. I mean, he can do it all. I remember us talking, leading up to the draft. I wanted the number 1 pick, obviously, to get Cade Cunningham, and he's had his own problems to start the season that maybe we won't get into just because of how bad the Pistons are. But, he's 0 of 18 from the three-point range in the first 2 weeks of the season. So he has yet to hit his first three-pointer as a professional. But, yeah, with the Rockets, it's a rebuild, and it's just fight hard, guys. Play hard. Show us something. Show us that you can develop. It's a bunch of 19, 20, 21-year-olds, with the exception of Christian Wood at 25. But it's fun to see. And tonight we got the Suns, and the Suns are going through their own stuff as well. So it's just I'm not high expectations, bro. We're probably going to have a top 5 pick again this coming season. But need some of these guys to show flashes.
So I do got to ask you, though, because we were talking about Twitter, and I want to talk about social media and sports here. Does NFL Twitter exist? Because I haven't seen that side yet. The way the NBA Twitter is really prevalent. I can see that. I go on. It's the first thing on my feed right away. Is there an NFL Twitter?
There definitely is an NFL Twitter because the NFL Twitter has been blowing up about the Derrick Henry and the Aaron Rodgers situation that have happened, just within this last week. There definitely is NFL Twitter, but it's just that NBA's every night, bro. So, every night there's going to be one dude that put up 35, 30 that, put on a show, and it's going to be trending on Twitter because there's games every single night. NFL, you have to wait to get to that Sunday. Games like tonight, like Roland said, we're not going live because it's the Jets against the Colts, man. It's nothing serious. So I just think that NBA is more dramatic, a lot more games in every single night.
I got you. The next thing I want to do is I had a little game lined up. It's just a little fun game. It's an instant reaction. I want to give you a sports team, and I want you to name the first player associated with that team that comes to mind. But we're going to do basketball tonight.
All right.
I'll give you 5 teams.
All right.
And it's going to go through the Eastern standings. I'm going to give you the number 1 team in the East, the Miami Heat. First player comes to mind.
Tyler Hero, the
the first one that comes to mind. I'm talking about in the history of the Heat. Tyler Hero's the first one.
You just said over the standings.
No, I'm just saying as the first player that comes to mind.
The first player that comes to mind when I think Miami Heat is Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade, has to be.
Dwayne
Second
Wade
would probably be LeBron.
Right? But this season right now, I thought we were talking about the present. I'm sorry. Tyler Hero's been on a mission. Front runner for 6th man of the year already. He's playing really well. I know it is only 2 weeks, but seems like he got his swagger back.
Yeah, we're only 7-8 games in, so it's still early. But next team, the 76ers. First player that comes to mind in the history of the 76ers.
Allen Iverson.
Has to be, right?
Has to be Allen Iverson.
Who is next? Dr. J?
Roland will tell us Ben Simmons, but that's Roland. He's on his own thing. Roland, Justin got a little game where he said he's going to go through the Eastern Conference standings, and I guess he just wants us to spit out the player that we think of. So he said Miami Heat. I said Tyler Hero, and he's like, really? The history of the Miami Heat? You think of Tyler Hero? I thought he was talking about this year, bro.
This year, I'd go Jimmy Butler. I think he's
talking about the history of it.
The history.
Yeah, we're just playing a name game. I give you a team. You just say the first player that comes to mind that your mind associates with that team. Just want to see how your brain works with sports and who's the first player you think of with this team. Miami Heat, Roland.
Probably Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, that's what Ben said too. 76ers.
Allen Iverson.
All right, now y'all can go at the same time. Bulls.
Michael Jordan.
Right? Has to be. Raptors.
Shit, that's a tough one. Probably Vince Carter.
Okay, see, there's the difference. Ben said Kawhi Leonard. Roland said Vince Carter. That's interesting. I'd go straight to Vince.
I've been roasted in group chats for saying Kawhi Leonard is the greatest Toronto Raptor of all time. I firmly believe that. He gave them their only championship. I mean, they were begging the guy. They were at their knees for him not to leave. They weren't doing that shit when Vince left. I'll tell you that.
The thing is, doesn't greatness have to also mean like you've been there for a while?
I get you with longevity, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're all playing for the prize, and this dude in half of a season or one
brought the prize over.
Brought the prize over, and there was no doubt it was on his back because the shot against Philly, like I just think that Kawhi is the best Toronto Raptor ever.
All right, last team before we get into the podcast for the NFL, the New Jersey Nets, New York Nets, Brooklyn.
Jason Kidd.
New York Nets, you said.
Yeah, the Nets.
Brooklyn Nets. Shit.
New Jersey
That's
Nets.
a good one. Should probably go Jason Kidd too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's between Jason Kidd and Kenyon
Richard
Martin.
Jefferson.
Nah, Kenyon Martin and Jason Kidd.
Kenyon Martin. Yeah, that's another one. I was just wanted to see how y'all's brains work because with sports, if you ask somebody who's in another generation, they're going to give you players that are not those names. So I know with us, it's going to be the same because, we're similar in age. But if I played that game with someone else, they might give us different names. But let's get into this podcast. All right, NFL. Big news coming out. Aaron Rodgers tests positive for C19. I don't want to say the word because it might get banned on YouTube. But this was interesting because if you saw the press conference earlier in the year, when they asked Aaron, are you immunized? He just straight up said yes. So, Ben, what's your thoughts here? Is he selfish here? What's going on?
I mean, just if we're going to get like super technical, they asked him, are you immunized? I mean, maybe he is immunized other immunizations. They didn't. I mean, I don't know.
They asked him if he was vaccinated. I heard the question. They asked him if he was vaccinated. He said, I'm immunized.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not that good with verbiage, but the fact that, is a vaccination you only get vaccinated for one thing and one thing only, or is there other things that you can get vaccinated for?
Well, I think what happened is he suck out alternative treatments and try to present it to the NFL as, hey, this is my immunization. And I don't think that it's cleared because it wasn't the brand of like Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson.
I think that he showed them a fake vaccine card because you can't go and tell them that you took whatever that medicine is that Joe Rogan took and then be like, okay, yeah, you're immune.
No, he didn't show him a fake vaccine card because he was still under the protocols of having to wear a mask when working out and stuff like that. So the NFL knew that he wasn't vaccinated to their standard.
Okay.
But
so
he
just let everybody else. It's something that we've seen a lot of guys with good PR teams, work around, try and skirt around. Mm-hmm. We've seen guys just straight up say HIPAA, that's HIPAA. That's HIPAA violation. So
yeah,
I understand, and he's a professional, bro. They weren't specific. They said, are you vaccinated? He said, I'm immunized, whatever the hell the word is. But he's seasoned enough to not have to, get into specifics and kind of he's got a PR team, bro. The guy knows how to get around the question or
he does
play in that gray area. That's what he does.
But do you think, Roland, that this is fair for him to receive any criticism for contracting C19?
I don't know if you should receive criticism for contracting it, but
because it seems that's what's happening with the media today.
I do think that Aaron Rodgers was kind of like lying about his vaccination status to the media. I think everybody in the Packers organization, everybody in the NFL, and knew that he was unvaccinated. I think the story, like you said, Justin, he provided an alternative solution to the vaccination that he thought was fine. Say him eating clay. I'm not sure. That's just on Twitter, but he tried presenting that to the NFL, and they said that wasn't a valid form of vaccination. So considered unvaccinated. I think the real story is, he's been lying to the media about it, and then two, has he been breaking any rules? He's been showing up to all of his media obligations just like that, unmasked. And I think the rule is if you show up to media obligations like that, you have to be masked. So, you start looking at stuff like that, the NFL might start reviewing it and see kind of how he's been doing inside the Packers facilities. and see if he's been breaking any rules there inside the locker room. Cost himself some money, can cost the Packers some money. Who knows what's going to happen?
I mean, if he proved that if he told him that he had other remedies that he tried, then shouldn't he still have to be abiding by the rules of somebody who isn't vaccinated?
Yeah, he should be abiding by those rules.
Or they expect him to show up with a mask and answer questions from the media with the mask on.
I think that's part of the protocols for vaccinated players, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think so, because I know Josh Allen isn't vaccinated, and he shows up, talking without a mask as well. So I don't know if they can't expect him to talk to the media all muffled through a mask.
We'd have to look that up. I haven't seen any players with a mask on talking to the media. And anyway, is this any sort of detriment to the team, though, other than, maybe suffering a loss this Sunday? But, before the season, he was talking about this is the last dance. We're going to go for it. Did he not do enough on his own? Did he not do in his own part to make sure that this sort of thing wouldn't happen? I mean, if it is his last dance like he says it is, is this any detriment to the team by not getting immunized?
Yes and no. I think at the end of the day, you kind of fall back on it's everybody's own body. Everybody can choose what they want to do, I guess. So at the end of the day, you can't tell one man what to do. But
yeah, I agree.
There are rules again for the unvaccinated players. There's reason why the NFL, put these rules in place. Whether you want to think about it as them, forcing people to get vaccinated or just making the lives of those that are unvaccinated hard. But I maybe I'm off on the media one, but I do know one for sure is you can't be in a gathering of more than 3 or 4 people or on your team if you're unvaccinated. And he was at that Halloween party where he was dressed up as John Wick. I hate to be the hall monitor here, calling people out, but I'm just saying there could be some sanctions out there to come for this. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to look at. I don't know currently if there's any sort of fines for these players that are meeting in large groups like that. That'd be interesting to know. Ben, anything else you want to take away with this one?
Just that, he wasn't coming in the best of terms with the team. So for him not to take the vaccine, it's kind of he wasn't trying to I don't think that he has the Super Bowl in mind, but I don't think that he has all of the best intentions for the organization as a whole.
It doesn't seem like that, right? This seems like the last year for sure, right?
The Packers just had an outbreak. Devontae Adams had to miss last week out of nowhere, and they still pulled it out without him. So, who knows if Devontae Adams is vaccinated or not, but even him being vaccinated or not caught it. So, they're the two best players.
The Cardinals got sick too.
That
played on Sunday.
Yeah, AJ Green. AJ Green is out because of COVID now as well. I guess that DB, was really on him with that pick at the end. Gave him that shit. But no, I don't think that. I don't think that it's really like you all said. He's a grown man. His decision, and they had an outbreak. Players have already missed because of COVID, so it's not like you're going to single out the guy. The one reason why you only have one loss this season. They're in good position. Does this hurt them in the long run going towards the playoffs? Cowboys, they won last week with Cooper Rush. Now you get Dak back. This is the time to gain that ground and be the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on. And as we talked about the NBA, the NFL has some of their drama as well. Odell Beckham Jr. excused from Cleveland Browns practice for the second straight day amid wide receivers' uncertain future. Stefanski has said, hey, to the players, act like Odell's no longer on this team. Now, I know we shared it through our chats. Odell Beckham's dad even released a video prior to the trade deadline showing Baker Mayfield just completely missing on his son a bunch of times. Do you guys think that Odell expected to be traded and now is handling the situation maybe upset because he wasn't traded?
100% expected to be traded. Yeah. I got to say he expected to be traded for sure. The bigger question to me is, do they cut him? Do they give him the, do they give him that happiness? We remember how AB acted when the Raiders cut him. Remember that shit?
Celebrating.
Yeah, I mean, he jumped in the pool and all that shit. Like, Odell wants nothing more than to be gone. Me and Roland have talked about it with Markey. Markey's a huge OBJ stan. I think that they're going to play hardball. I think that they're just going to give him the Deshaun Watson treatment. Hey, we'll trade you this summer, man. We're not going to let you go for free. You know, you're going to hit us on our dead cap, whatever that shit's called. We'll work something out in the summer when we have a lot more time. Maybe get a late draft pick for you if worse comes to worse.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what they were thinking. They obviously wanted to get traded. I don't know if they thought it was honestly going to work, posting a video like that. I mean, to me, that's kind of bush league, especially, when you're dealing at the NFL level and you have your father posting a video on Instagram or whatever. He's obviously not the one to put that together, but some thought went behind that post. Obviously he's a father of a highly paid NFL wide receiver, and he wants him to do the best that he can. So, I mean, I understand him from that angle. Like, he wants the best for his son. But from OBJ's perspective and everything, it's a bad look. It's a bad look all around, because the video did show that him and Baker obviously do not have chemistry together. I don't believe in the whole thing that they're intentionally icing OBJ out. I don't believe that.
That'd be stupid.
If you look at the stats, I mean, OBJ's only been targeted like less than 5 times, like twice this season. Whether or not the connections have been there, that's another thing to be seen. But it's not for lack of effort. They are trying to get him involved in the offense. I have seen drops from OBJ. I know that video.
Big drop.
I know that video highlighted a lot of overthrows and bad throws by Baker, but it'd be foolish to act like it's just not a mutual thing. Like, OBJ hasn't had his fair of mess ups too. So at this point for me with OBJ, it just becomes it's his talent overweighing his baggage at this point, because whether or not you want to buy into the whole media thing of him being kind of like, I guess, like a cancer or just a problem wherever he goes, because obviously there's issues in New York, and whether or not you wanted to believe those were true or whatever, but he lost a lot of traction with me, because I liked him when he came into the league, albeit he got famous off of the Cowboys on that one-handed catch.
That's it.
So, but, I'll put that aside. I liked him after that. He's a talented receiver, Cowboy killer, but he lost a lot of leeway with me when he went to Miami on an off week before a playoff game. That's unheard of when you do stuff like that. So when you do
stuff, the same sense, cuz
when you do stuff like that and then it follows you to Cleveland and things don't go your way, you have injuries, that's one thing, but the production hasn't been there on the field. It just becomes one of those things like, is the baggage or is the talent going to outweigh the baggage at this point? And to me, it's becoming a little bit closer on the scale. I don't know if I'd take a chance on OBJ. It'd have to be a very, very peculiar, you have to have a secure quarterback that's not going to waver to some of this stuff. I don't think Baker's
scales are tipping, Roland. The baggage is becoming heavier.
Roland, the talk was that there was only one team with mild interest. That's why they didn't trade him, because not that many teams were interested. The one team that was interested, team with huge wide receiver problems, the New Orleans Saints, was a team interested. And it's a team that would make a ton of sense.
But he'd be complaining too. If he's complaining about Baker, he's going to be complaining about Taysom Hill throwing him the ball. It's not gonna be any better.
No, I feel you. I think it's double-sided. Listen, is Baker any good? No. We had that talk about Lamar and Baker and how their contract negotiations are going in completely opposite directions. The dude has a torn labrum on his non-throwing shoulder, and he's not very good to begin with. I mean, he's a play-action quarterback. OBJ has had his drops. It's like both parties. I'm not going to say it's all on OBJ. Yeah. The Browns have not been playing up to expectations, and a lot of that has to do with Baker Mayfield's play. You know what I mean? And Baker Mayfield, I hate to be the Stephen A. Smith, because you know how everybody said, you need to grow up and whatever and act like a professional. And even like last week, bro, he gets that first down run against the Steelers when he gets pushed out and they're down in the game, at least a touchdown. And he runs and goes and almost throws out the only good shoulder that he has, making a first down sign, only to fucking, turn the ball over, turn over on downs right after.
Landry fumbled, I think, on that drive.
I mean, this dude needs to read the room, bro. You got to go celebrate like that. He's as much of a diva as OBJ is. I will say that. I will say that he's as much of a diva as OBJ is. It's just that right now, Baker with the commercials and all that shit on top of the world. Ain't nothing to complain about. I'm still the starter. I'm getting all this commercial money. I got the wife. You see her in the commercials too. I don't know if she's getting the bag or if it's just Baker, but now she's in the fucking commercials. And I ain't going to lie, the commercials are pretty funny. They've gotten better over the years. But as an NFL quarterback, man, this guy is not cutting it. And OBJ, Roland, the question that I ask you, though, and Justin, do they cut him or do they wait?
Wait, OBJ?
Yeah, OBJ.
They're going to wait it out.
Wait it out. Right?
That's a big contract to cut that they're going to have to pay.
I know, but when he says, let OBJ, is no longer on this team or whatever the quote was.
Yes.
That kind of alludes to them cutting ties. Even though I don't think so. I think that they're going to give him that Deshaun Watson treatment. He's on the team, but he's not with the team.
Yeah. That's where I'm at with it too.
And I don't think he's completely washed, but man, it's tough.
No, I don't think he's washed either. Not completely.
The one thing is it's not like there's another receiver on that team putting up numbers. So it's like nobody's putting up numbers. You know what I mean? It's not just OBJ. Nobody's putting up numbers. Just
to dig into that a little more, Ben, in August when you asked us, does Baker deserve a contract extension?
Fuck.
It was a clear yes then. Now we've seen
we were saying
2.5 months.
We were saying he was going to get.
We said he wouldn't reset the market, but that he would get an extension.
I think we said he was going to kind of go the Kirk Cousins route, and he might get franchised. If I'm remembering correctly.
Let's wait out the rest of the season, man. You can't do anything. Probably going to end up franchise tagging him unless he completely falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
I think that's where it is now. But I thought we had said he gets an extension, but doesn't reset the market. He's not going to get the Dak money.
We said he was going to get franchised.
The brutal out here.
Yeah, we have to be, I guess. Here we go, man. Unfortunate news in the NFL. Henry Ruggs drove 156 miles per hour, was in a fatal crash. I believe this was, Tuesday night or Monday night?
Monday morning?
Monday morning, yeah. This is the Las Vegas receiver. Was being targeted a lot. He started getting 4 or 5 targets a game, but now his career is over. I mean, it's kaput. It's a done deal.
Cut by the team,
Yeah, released. Looking at 2 to 20, possibly more. Loaded gun now. Found in the car as well. It's a bad situation. Guys, the NFL offers a service to these players beyond Uber. They can call the NFL number that they're given at these conferences that they do when they get drafted, and a driver will pick them up and take them home from wherever they're at. No questions asked. Why are they not using these resources? What's going on?
He wants to drive his Corvette, man. I know Roland was giving us a little bit more details. He had been kind of reading into the story and Henry Ruggs' entourage and stuff. So I'll let him, break this shit down first.
Yeah, give it to us, Roland.
I mean, it's just a classic case of just having a bad circle around you from what I'm reading. He just wasn't hanging with the right people. A lot of people just letting him do whatever he wanted, enjoying his money, enjoying Vegas, from what I've been understanding. And, it's just an unfortunate situation all around. I was reading the news yesterday and, when it broke, and I was sick to my stomach reading this stuff, just thinking about, the lost life, the person that they got hit by Ruggs going over 150 miles per hour. When I read that, my jaw dropped. I was like, how is this guy, still alive right now? And then, just thinking about, the lost career of Henry Ruggs. Like, it's just unnecessary. Like you said, Justin, there's a number out there that they can dial at any time. But unfortunately, when you hang, I guess, with maybe not the best circle, or maybe you don't keep a circle at all, things like this are going to happen.
And Roland, and then we hear Carr, the quarterback, even say, I got to stick by him. This is a very hard time. Carr had a media outing or media, press day, whatever it's called. And he said, got to stick by him. The kid's 22, 23 years old. Yes, maybe his football career is gone, but he still has life ahead of him. 2 to 20 years, Justin, you were saying. Me and my brother were kind of getting into, is it going to be a slap in the wrist? Are they going to make an example? We've seen previous cases where Dante Stallworth was drunk driving and ran a person over that was jaywalking. and ended up getting, I think, only 2 years for that.
House arrest too.
House arrest. But I mean, like Roland said, sick to his stomach, bro. The person burned to death in their car, fam.
And their dog as well.
Oh,
sick to my stomach, man, reading that stuff.
Horrible, bro. But I mean, if Carr is even through this, you got to think he had guys that he could have called. Why is he driving by himself at 4 a.m., fam? Like nobody was in the car with him and he's fucked up driving. You know, that maybe if there's somebody in the passenger seat, they're telling him, yo, fam, chill.
So
you know?
let me get this right. His girlfriend wasn't with him in the passenger seat because I had read she was. Roland, any
I know she was there on the scene. She was.
Yeah,
on the
she
scene.
was.
I don't know what she got
was
there.
With him?
I thought she was. I thought she was treated as well.
Okay, I hadn't heard anything. I thought it was just him. And I mean, you see his Corvette in the picture above. It's pretty much smashed up until the driver until that front windshield. And it's a Corvette, bro. So how he's still alive is insane. But you know how they say usually when people crash and they're drunk, it's usually the drunk person whose body is like loose and that survives and nothing happens to them.
They don't tense up.
Horrible situation. I think that as bad as people feel for Henry Ruggs ruining his career and possibly life, I mean, not enough attention is being paid to the Jane Doe. I don't think that they've released the girl's name. At least I haven't heard it. Yeah, but the victim and the family, man.
Prayers to the family. Can't imagine what they're going through right now. It's just an unfortunate situation all around. Feel horrible for the family though. Ruggs, hopefully he's okay, gets the help he needs, moves on. Justice probably will be served there, but feel bad for the family.
Yeah, and I don't want to be insensitive, but I want to talk about what this means for the Raiders organization now. I mean, they've been through a lot this year with the John Gruden emails and this situation. What happens on field though? Like, is there any effect not having Ruggs now that you see detriment on the players? Having to think about their teammate out there. I mean, they got to be close.
You saw them rally the week after their coach got fired, or that he resigned, and everybody thought, "Oh man, that locker room behind closed doors, shits, they got to be going through it." We saw players taking time off from practice because they were so hurt by what they were reading. So I don't know with this Las Vegas team, man. I don't want to say that they go and play for Ruggs, but they're obviously going to be playing with a heavy heart. And Las Vegas, for the most part, comes out and competes. They're coming off of a bye week as well, which is what makes this even more unfortunate. You had the whole bye week, fam. And then Monday morning when you're going to practice on Tuesday, you're out at 4 a.m. fucked up. Like, rookie mistake, bro. Rookie mistake, pun intended.
Yeah. All right. Roland, anything else?
No, man. No, just like Ben said, the Raiders, they responded pretty well to Gruden being cut and let go, winning that game that next week. I think it was against the Steelers. Nobody thought they were going to win that game. Went on to beat the Steelers. Raiders definitely going to be playing with heavy hearts. Just thinking about football, you lose a guy that takes the top off the defense and Ruggs. So see how they adjust with that. I know they're getting Waller back. So definitely going to look to see maybe guys like Brian Edwards step up.
Yep. Hunter Renfrow.
Renfrow too.
Let's move on to some lighter news. Here we go. We got Von Miller.
This dude was crying all damn day. Is it lighter news?
It's a little bit lighter news. It's a little more positive news, at least. That was heavy to read and go through. But Von Miller, I went to sleep 4-4 and woke up 7-1. Man, this defense, the Rams are all in. All in. All the chips are up front. It's time to win is now. The window is now. Guys, what do you think about this Aaron Donald and Von Miller? I know Von Miller hasn't been 2015, 2016 Von Miller, but he's still somebody out there that can cause havoc.
Yeah, still somebody out there, and especially when you got guys like Leonard Floyd and Aaron Donald on the line with you, attracting as much attention, maybe if not more, than you are. Things are going to be slim pickings for Von Miller if he's healthy, even close to what he's usually used to producing. It's stupid, this front line or the front seven that they're putting together, and then with that secondary, kind of the perfect mix. It's getting scary in LA. That offense is clicking. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm a little worried, but I do
Super
like
Bowl goes to LA too.
Yeah, I do like Von Miller, so I'm happy that he's getting to finish out his career, possibly, with a chance at winning another ring instead of wasting away in purgatory with Denver, probably like an 8-9, 9-8 territory with the way they're playing. He has a chance to play for Super Bowl, so.
Are you
excited?
any
Not
bit
so
surprised?
excited to see it.
Are you any bit of surprised what the deal was? Second day trades? I mean,
no, I'm not surprised with what they traded him for, because if you think about it, Von Miller, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, and he's already up in age. He's already in his 30s, towards the end of his career, I would think, unless he has a resurgence and lasts another 5 years, which I'm not calling, but. I think they got a good deal for him on both ends. I'm a little surprised, though, from the Broncos standpoint, because, they're not eliminated from the playoffs or anything,
right?
Don't you still want to compete? And don't you think Von Miller gives you the best chance to compete? So that's probably the best or the biggest surprise for me.
Does it feel like they're punting on the season? Because I think it feels like that.
Yeah, kind of. At 4-4, you trade away your, the cornerstone of your defense.
I think if they were punting on the season, they would have traded away Melvin Gordon as well. Melvin Gordon to the Titans made a lot of sense. They drafted that rookie. It could have been his show. I think if they were punting on the season, they would have traded Melvin Gordon. What I will say about Von Miller, though, was this his last year with the Broncos? The guy was fucking crying like if the Broncos were going to be home forever. Well, maybe he would have just signed back with them. No, for sure. He won a Super Bowl there. He was Super Bowl MVP. What I'm saying is the way he was crying, he seems like the guy who might not have left this offseason.
Maybe, yeah. Or maybe he seems pretty happy, though. All I'm saying is that I think when I read his quote about him crying, he just said he was just going through all the memories and all that stuff, looking at the wall on his way out. I was home for a long time. And like I said, he deserves a chance to compete for a title. He's that good of a player, in my opinion. So, but it's just unfortunate that it's in the NFC and it's with a team that's stacked like the Rams that are.
Yeah, the rich get richer.
Yeah,
how do they afford this though? You would think with the contracts they already have.
It's just for 1 year though. It's a rental.
Yeah, it's pretty much a rental. It's pretty much we're going for it. This is why we got Stafford. We got Stafford, and it's clear that we're better with Stafford.
It just might not be fair. And honestly, if Von Miller is anything close to what he's used to being, him, Leonard Floyd, and Aaron Donald, it's not going to be fair. No one's going to be able to block them.
And we've seen them trade for players and then come in and play off of Aaron Donald and do Beast Fowler, the guy for the Jags. He got paid. He got paid a new contract off of getting traded to the Rams, playing pass rushing, making a name for himself. Von Miller, I think the biggest question is whether he can stay healthy or not. We know that he was a little bit injured already with Denver. I believe that he missed a game or two earlier this season. So I like it for LA, man. You go get the sure thing. The draft picks, yeah, we want young talent, but we're a Super Bowl team. We already beat the Bucks, spanked the Bucks. We didn't just beat the Bucks. We have one loss. We're up there for the bye. We got to go for it. And you can never have enough pass rushers. And then you put a Super Bowl MVP on top of it. Great move for them. The Broncos get more draft picks, but honestly, John Elway, I don't know about John Elway. I don't know what the hell he's doing over there in Denver. I think he's going to kind of sell out like the Mavericks did, hoping that Giannis would go to them, but he didn't even hit free agency. Aaron Rodgers will be there for them. I think all the eggs for the Broncos are in that Aaron Rodgers basket next season.
That's very interesting. Home game for the Rams if they make it to the Super Bowl. That's going to be interesting to see if that happens. Their future, though, it's mortgaged. It's all here. It's all now. Yep. In 4 or 5 years, they might be paying for it, but
think about what
Super Bowl, it's worth it.
Think about what they traded for those. Like they got Matthew Stafford, their quarterback of the future. They traded two first rounders for Jalen Ramsey, the best corner in the game, and now you trade a second and a third for a guy like Von Miller. They're at least hitting with the players that they're trading for. You got to give them that.
That's for sure. All right, let's move on to some NFL power rankings, and these are provided by the NFL Network. We just want to debate them a little bit. Guys, as you can see in the top 5, it is NFC heavy here. Any gripes with the Packers being 1 after a win over the Cardinals?
I mean, you got to give them credit for beating the Cardinals, but I wouldn't put them at number 1 personally. Honestly, out of that list, I'd probably have the Bills number 1 off of the number 4 spot. I'd keep maybe the Cowboys at where they're at based on where they're playing. I like them at number 2. And then it's just tough for me because I really like the Rams. I'd probably have the Rams at 3. And then I'd probably go Bucks and Cardinals. So I'd probably have the Packers down like at 6. That's probably my thing with this.
So Bills at 1, even though they've lost to the Titans and the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean the Steelers lost to me. I think it was a fluke loss, and the
Week
Titans.
1, I'll give you that fluke loss.
And that Titans game was a coin flip, So
yeah, they could have kicked the field goal and gotten to overtime, and who knows what would have happened. But you got to go for it, like we talked about.
I still like the Bills, though. They're probably the best, and most consistent, I think, offense from what I see. I like the way Josh Allen's playing right now.
I think the Bucks are a little too high here at number 5, to be honest.
I don't think
in their
that
current
Bucks
form with their defense right now, a little high.
I feel you.
But they have been injured as well. They've been injured, and the way that they lost last week, I mean, damn, that was pretty bad.
That was a bad beat for me.
I would change a couple of things. I like Roland. I would put the Bills number 1. I would keep the Cowboys number 2. I'd put the Rams number 3. I'd put the Packers 4 and the Bucks 5. So I would have the Cardinals out of my top 5. Listen, Kyler Murray's injured. We talked about him being a little injured. Yeah. DeAndre Hopkins is injured. They're going to be. I think that they're not going to be playing as well as they did. We've seen it happen with a couple of other teams, the Chargers. They kind of regressed a bit, and I expect the same thing to happen to the Cardinals.
Is there a team out of the top 10 right now that you expect to jump into the top 10?
Top 10, okay.
Like
I was going to say that the Ravens could end up in the top 5.
Okay.
I think
outside the 10 to jump into 10.
Yeah, outside the 10 to jump into 10.
I think the obvious team's the Bengals, right?
The Bengals.
The Bengals, and then maybe the Steelers too.
No.
You like the Steelers?
Well, they're winning, aren't they?
I mean, the Chiefs. Yeah. The Chiefs at the end of the season could end up in the top 10.
The Chiefs too. Yeah.
No, the Steelers. No. I mean, they are winning right now. They're winning very ugly. They're winning very ugly.
Defense is stellar, but the Chiefs, speaking of them, they do scare me more than they did a couple of weeks ago. I will say that. I think that victory against the Giants might as well have been a loss to me. It looked pretty ugly. I didn't like the way they got it done. They got the running game going a little bit, but did not look very convincing. After rewatching the interception, I don't completely blame that red zone interception on Mahomes. Jerick McKinnon, you got to be looking at the freaking ball. I don't know where you're looking on that. But Mahomes, needless to say, is leading the league in red zone interceptions.
Interceptions
period. Yeah. So
he's already totaled this year. His interception total what he had previous seasons combined.
Yeah. It's just, they can't go out and do what they were doing to guys, over and over again. You got to change it up every now and again. Teams are too smart. They're not going to let you, run 4 verticals on teams over and over again, and then hit them with a little shovel pass and call that your innovation. People have caught on to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see how they adjust.
And like last week, and some of it on Andy or Eric Bieniemy. I mean, a guy who had all the hype this offseason.
Yes, talk about
fam. Last week, and I would have still been a Texans fan had they at least hired Eric Bieniemy. Give me one fucking thing to hold on to. Yeah. No, nada. Eric Bieniemy in the red zone calls a reverse, and then they toss it to Mahomes like.
Behind the back, Travis Kelce passed Mahomes.
So, what is Mahomes gonna do? Is he gonna run for the fucking touchdown, fam? Like, what? Like, that's so obvious. And then in the red zone, just line him up under center. Why does he need to be catching a reverse from Travis Kelce for a pass? You're getting way too fucking cute, and you're not in the position to be cute at all. What they have to do is dumb it down, make it simple. Tyreek Hill should have 10 receptions a game from now on because everything underneath is a given.
And Tyreek Hill's a stud, man. Let's give it to him. He looked like a beast against the Giants. He was catching everything. But after that, Kelsey. I think Kelsey needs to step up a little bit more.
He had a big fumble that almost cost him.
And they're still, in my opinion, looking for a wide receiver number 2 outside of Kelsey. I mean, Kelsey's there. I mean, you can't disregard him. But
that Hardman shit. Hey, throw Hardman out the window. If I see another person pick up Hardman in fantasy football, fan, I'm never talking.
Traditional wide receiver 2, still looking for it. It's needless to say, maybe they needed Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins was kind of important, Roland.
Yeah.
People respect Sammy at least.
The last thing I do want to talk about in this power ranking is the Cowboys. Rolling last Sunday against the Vikings. Cooper rush to Amari Cooper. Cooper squared is what they were calling it. Those are games that we've seen, Roland, as Cowboys fans, that we've been in last year even with DiNucci. We lose those games.
Yeah, you lose those games. You typically think that it's just, you don't even have to watch the game. The Cowboys are going to come out and compete. So that's why I bet against the Cowboys and I lost. So it's kind of bittersweet for me.
I took the other side. I faded you on that one because you know me, I'm a homer.
The Cowboys decided to, nut up, and that defense looked pretty good. Albeit, I did say in the group chat with Ben, I was like, the only way the Vikings win this game is if Kirk Cousins just plays like shit, and that's exactly what he did. Kirk Cousins looked like crap. Yeah, you move. The thing with Kirk Cousins is you move the line on him a little bit, and he's done. He's done. He needs a perfect pocket to operate. If it's not there, he's toast. His confidence out the window. And the Cowboys, man, that defense.
That's the difference.
It's legit, man. Micah Parsons is looking like the pick of all picks. If you think about it, the Cowboys traded back a little bit. We were a little pissed off. I know I was that we didn't get Patrick Surtain or J.C. Horn. They both went right before the Cowboys, and we ended up with Micah Parsons, who didn't play his last year of eligibility at Penn State because of COVID. He's a beast, man. He's a beast. Probably the best
he's in that rookie of the year conversation with Chase and Slater.
Well, for defensive rookie of the year, he's that guy.
Defensive, but not.
But he's in the conversation.
It's
I think
offensive and defensive. It's just not rookie of the year.
Yeah, well,
offense and defense.
I know we got Diggs, and Diggs is a monster, but I think Micah Parsons might be the best Cowboys defensive draft pick since DeMarcus Ware, maybe. I don't know, man. Micah Parsons is a beast.
He was all over Dalvin Cook, and we got to start talking about Dalvin Cook too, man, because the dude, like I know that you said if they move the line a little bit on Kirk Cousins, and maybe the line didn't play that well of a game, but Dalvin Cook has been a disappointment all season long, pretty much, bro.
Yep.
And if
there's a big decline on him,
and he got paid too. What was it, last year or the year? He just got paid.
He got paid.
So I mean, if he's not producing, it only brings Kirk Cousins down because Kirk Cousins plays off of that run. They're a team that their offense I compare a lot to the Tennessee Titans. They prefer to run first, but when they have to throw, they got A.J. Brown out there. They got Justin Jefferson.
I take Tannehill all day. I take Tannehill all day over.
And you see that's the argument. That's the argument right there. Yeah.
I know. Cowboys little talk here, Justin. Thank you for bringing it up because otherwise I wouldn't have brought it up. But now that we're on the topic, I do want to shout out Randy Gregory, another guy. Another guy I need to shout out. I just need to shout
till DeMarcus Lawrence comes back
because
Eli's gonna be nice.
The stigma behind Randy Gregory, ever since he came out of college and throughout his NFL career, has had trouble. I mean, just can't deny it. But the guy can ball. The guy can ball when he's on the field, man. So gotta shout him out. He was out there giving it his all.
Hey,
there were some penalties on him in that game, Roland, that I thought were a little weird. I don't want to call racism, but there was a play to the sideline where he hit somebody and they called a penalty. Next play right after, the same exact play, Van Der Esch does the same exact thing, hits the guy out of bounds. Yeah. No call.
I
was a little weird to me.
Yeah, some of those roughing the passer, roughing the late hits on the sidelines, the late hit on the sideline call has been inconsistent this year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It has been a little inconsistent.
It was inconsistent
games this year, where it's benefited me, but it's been inconsistent.
The Cowboys, man, prior Cowboys teams remind me a lot about the Chiefs team this year. All offense, no defense. This Cowboys team's different, bro. Hey, the defense.
And we don't even have Gallup yet. Just wait.
Gallup, y'all should have traded Gallup.
We should have, but he was hurt, so we couldn't.
Yeah. This number 1 kid looks nice. He looks pretty nice.
Cedric Wilson.
Yeah.
He can play.
And we got Noah Brown or whoever, 85 too. Guys, we got offense.
Let's get to the association. Are we up?
Let's do it, Roland. Take us to the association.
Let's do it. The association, the NBA is back in full force. We got our guys. We got fans in the stands again for the NBA. Full stands, fans in the stand. And let's get to it. What's our first little topic here? Trouble in Boston. Okay, so we're just going to hit some news and notes here for the NBA. Nothing too crazy. We're probably going to end with a way too early power rankings, but just a couple of news and notes to start the season. Trouble in Boston. Marcus Smart recently has been all over the news. He called out Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, pretty much said they're not trying to pass the ball. They're not even looking to pass the ball. It's just these guys are going down there and ISOing it. They're taking turns. Led to them, I think, winning their next game, if I'm not mistaken.
Against the Magic.
Yeah, against the Magic. But then they called the team meeting, I think, before that game. Players only. The question that I posed to you guys, is the call out, is that fair or foul? Is Marcus Smart out of place calling these guys out the way that he did?
Let me go first, Ben, because you got more to say than I do. And mine's going to be real quick. To me, this is fair because the way I view Marcus Smart, that's the heart and soul of Boston. He's been their guy. So if he says something, it's fair because these guys may go when they hit free agency. Marcus Smart will stay. That's my only thing on this. Ben, I know you got a lot more to say though.
I don't think the other guys will go either. I think it's fair and foul. I think I'm gonna cop out. I'm gonna play both sides of the fence. Why is it foul? Fam, there's been 7 games. Chill the fuck out.
Yeah, it's a little early to be talking shit like that. Yeah.
Talk about way too early power.
He got excited. It's the first couple games of the season. He's all hyped up from his off-season workouts, and he's not getting any play.
Hey, chill out. You got a brand new head coach, and you're calling the players only meeting the second week of the season? Marcus Smart. This ain't college, fam. Relax. All right, you're not at Oklahoma State. Relax. Is it fair? It's fair because Justin said if anybody's going to call anybody out, it's going to be Marcus Smart. And if anybody has respect on that team, Al Horford does too, but Marcus Smart has all the respect.
Well, outside of his clout in the locker room, do you think it's fair from the standpoint that when you watch the Celtics, do you get the vibes that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are out there just slinging it?
I saw them against that Chicago team, and they cost them that game.
That was probably the worst game, though. I've seen them against the Rockets, and that's one of the games that they did win. Like, they have wins against the Rockets, the Magic, and I believe the Thunder. So they're not beat. They're not looking very good. But maybe that is a reason to call him out because it's a pretty shitty start, and it's a new coach. I don't know. I mean, we know that their old head coach is upstairs in the front office now.
Yeah, he failed up.
So how much has really changed? If there's anybody, it's Marcus Smart, and it got him in line. They're playing the Heat, live right now. They're down 4, but the Celtics, man, I don't think that they're going to be that good this year, man. To be honest,
yeah, they're one of those teams that we had consistently competing in the Eastern Conference, but. The tide has turned. They lost Kemba Walker in free agency. He went over to New York. They're having a good start. But to me, whenever I watch the Celtics, I do see a bunch of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, especially late in games. It's usually just them ISOing and Jason Tatum taking a crazy step back 3 or Jaylen Brown backing a guy down and trying to hit a fadeaway in the mid-range. I mean, granted, they are pretty good at doing that, but I could imagine being a player on that team and just being like, gosh, dang, because I've played with people before where I'm just like, okay, dude, like you're really
don't call me out, Ro.
I was like, you're really gonna take that shot right there, like a step back 3 with 2 guys in your face. Like, come on, pass the ball. Even if it's just to me to swing it or whatever, like get the ball going or get the ball moving. I understand that. I don't know, man. I think there's more to be seen on this team. I agree with Ben a little bit in the perspective that I don't have high expectations for this Celtics team the rest of the year.
Roland, this was private. This was private convo, but can you give the people another point in which you're starting to agree with me, Justin, and the people, where you're starting to agree with Ben, Roland?
Well, I was just gonna. Well, I mean, it's not what we're talking about right now, but
it's the team.
Jaylen Brown, he does look to be. I think he might be better than Jason Tatum. I know it's not the popular thing to say.
It's not.
Jaylen Brown does look pretty good, man. I like his game. I mean, him and Jason Tatum, they play a similar brand of basketball if you think about it. And I like the way Jaylen Brown looks. I don't know.
They're not too complementary. They're not too complementary to each other. It's not like I feel like one of them needs like a Clay, like a guy that they could just kind of dish to and hit the shot. But like Roland said, they're the same player. But the dog and Brown and the new coach likes Jaylen Brown, bro.
And I think it's more so also. And I see Justin shaking his head, and I think it's because Jason Tatum is probably one of the more inconsistent players in the NBA. If you think about it, he has these stretches where he scored 14 points last night. Jaylen Brown had 28, right? But then he'll go off for 45 or 48. He'll have a game where he doesn't miss. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum can play like that for weeks on end. But then he hits these little slumps, and you're just like, what's this guy doing? Is he going to be the next Kobe, or is he just going to be, another streaky scorer?
I think Brown's a little more consistent, but the ceiling is higher on Tatum. But,
that's the enamor with Tatum, yeah.
And guys, by next year, we're going to be there with Kareem Hunt over Chubb. Totally off topic, but we're going to be there next year with Kareem Hunt over Chubb.
He might be more dynamic. I'm not against that, man.
Yeah. What do we got next besides the Celtics?
Your boy Harden.
The big rule change, man. The faces of the rule change, if you will. And James Harden and Trae Young, for those of you guys that are watching us on YouTube.
Y'all couldn't get worse pictures of the two. Whoever, Roland, if it was you, shout out for this slide, because if we're gonna shit on them. Hey, fam, you picked the right picture.
When Roland goes in, Roland goes in.
Couldn't even get in a Nets jersey. Come on, fam.
They're relative pictures, man. I mean, they're relevant pictures. Excuse me. They're both yelling at refs here, and that's why this slide is here, because the NBA made that big rule change. There's no more, diving into the defender off of the pump fake, trying to get that 3-point play going, or maybe even a 4-point play in some instances, and. In some instances, a bailout for the offensive player, a lot of the times is viewed as a bailout. So the NBA, they went to the drawing board and said, you know what? We're not going to do this anymore. We're taking this away. And we've seen a lot of these guys have complained already. Trae Young said that he's complaining, or no, he didn't say he's complaining, but he's come out and he's complained. James Harden came out and said that they're targeting him. He says that he feels that he's being targeted out there. His free throws attempts have been cut in half pretty much to start the year. But this has had a little bit of a trickle-down effect. The NBA scoring, it's down, I think, about 5 points a game to start the year. It went down from 112.5 points per possession to 107.5. That's a 5-point drop. There hasn't been a drop like that in a while. Granted, it's a 2-week sample. But my question to you guys is this a direct effect of the rule change? Do you think the dip in offense to start the year is an effect of the rule change? And do you like the rule change? Or do you think it's bogus in some instances?
I like the rule change. I think it is a direct effect for these two stars, especially, who are used to playing the same similar brand of basketball, getting to the line 10 to 15 times a game. You can see where they're trying to initiate contact, moving in a non-basketball move to try and get that contact, and the refs are just letting it play. I think it also helps the speed of the game. Games are not being extended as much because you're not having guys go to the line as much. That's just my opinion. It is only 2 weeks, so I don't think the definitive answer's out on this yet. But from what I'm seeing, for these two men, we're seeing that already.
And league-wide, free throws are down 10%. Free throw attempts are down 10% league-wide to start the season. Man, what do you think, Ben? You're a fan of James Harden. You've watched him for years. What do you think about this?
When the rule changed, the update came out with these two guys' names in the statement of the rule change, pretty much saying we're changing it And these are the two motherfuckers that are, in charge or the reason why we're changing it. Jimmy Butler's still shooting 9 free throws a game. There's some guys who are still getting to the line. Jimmy Butler leads the league at 9, 10 free throws a game. I don't think it's going to last, Roland. I think once we get to the playoffs, this shit's out the window, bro.
They're going to start calling fouls. Is what you're saying? They're going to start calling
we see them swallow the whistle sometimes in the playoffs with some of the cheaper drives, but I think in the playoffs when the possessions mean that much more and the lights are a lot brighter, I think the refs are going to tend to lean back to the old ways and call some of those that they wouldn't be calling regularly.
The one thing
they're trying to set an example right now.
Yeah, they're setting an example. And we see it in the NFL. They change rules all the time. And
the pass interference. Remember how that shit went?
They're calling all that the roughing the passer. They were calling that like crazy to start the year.
Crazy.
With this, I think it's sort of the same effect. And I do agree in a certain extent with you, though, with the whole when it gets to the playoffs and a push comes to shove, I think they will start blowing the whistle a little bit more on the drives. But I will say on the 3-point shot, they have to stay consistent with it because it's the same thing. When they eliminated the rip move, that you don't see that anymore. Well, you still see it, but it's not a
side out of bounds.
Shot. Yeah, it's not a free throw shot anymore when you do that move anymore. But with this whole 3-point shot thing, they got to take it out of the game. The one thing I will say though is you still got to protect the offensive player. The offensive player still needs his landing area. He still needs a place to land after he shoots the ball. And you can't go out there freaking tackling guys is the other thing that I'm going to say. Because I was worried about that too. If you take the worry of the pump fake away, guys are just going to run out there like without any regard for people. So you got to protect them from that instance. But I'm a fan of the rule change because some of it was a little cringeworthy. It's like, really? Like, you're going to call that? Like, that's like you're completely leaning into the guy. There's
too many free throws, stupid foul trouble. Like,
one thing to be said about baiting a guy, because I do think there's a certain craft into baiting a guy into fouling you. I think that there's a craft to that. I think there's a skill to getting a guy to fouling you. But in some of these things, like I said, with a 3-point shot where you're leaning into guys, or the old trick would be to stick out your foot and get the guy running past you to knock you over. They take that stuff out of the game, and I think this is just another thing they're trying to take out. So.
And we've all hooped before, bro. We've been mad at the ref for calling some soft shit when we're trying to clamp up and play defense. So finally, a little rule change for the defense. Hey, nobody's fucking mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I like watching Harden. He's down to 18 points per game so far throughout the first 2 weeks. He's good enough. His bag's deep enough to where he's going to figure it out.
Yeah, I think guys like Pat Beverly are going to struggle now, though.
Cuz you went way in your bag to pull that shit out.
Well, he does similar stuff. I saw him the other day. He was getting aggravated big time.
No, yeah, Pat Bev is all about the cheap points for sure. But you pulled that one.
And there's a few other things too that they're not calling that I'm liking, like the whole when you're in transition and you're the ball handler and you're trying to catch a defender running by. That rule or that foul is also bogus. I hated watching that.
They just changed it. Yeah.
And I know they're not calling it anymore. But I'm just saying that used to be a bogus call.
Yeah. Just to stop a fast break and 2 easy points. Let me just grab this guy because I'm the only guy left on defense.
I'm talking about the offensive player. Well, let's say you grab the rebound, right? And you're an offensive player and the defense is in transition too, and you just go and plop yourself in front of a defender running down court.
Well, I'm talking about the other one because they just switched that yesterday or today.
I'm glad they're fixing this shit.
Because, like when a guy's 2-on-1 and, the last guy back just fouls real quick to get the side out of bounds and let them set up. No more of that shit, fam. We're going to get some highlight reel dunks now. That's what the NBA wants.
Nice.
There's give and take.
Yeah, you have to. Ben, what you said is interesting. When come playoffs, if they're going to make a change to these rules, because as the NBA, when I think about it from the association standpoint, I think you want to have your stars scoring points in these playoffs games, and if they're not, the NBA lives off their stars. It'd be interesting if they don't do this.
Because this is a regular season. Only some of in the playoffs, everybody's on cable television. We got to build the product. We got to let our stars shine. They're not going to be letting Harden have fucking 12, 15 points a game. Come on, fam. Like, it ain't going to happen.
All right. Roland, is there anything else you want to talk about with these new rules?
No, man. Just interested to see how this offensive adjustment, like I said, the points per possession are down 5 points to start the season. I want to see if it adjusts upwards or if it stays, around that 107 range. So,
all right. Well, let's take it away to Roland's NBA.com, right, Roland? It's NBA.com?
NBA.com gave us these power rankings. The heading does say way too early, so don't go crazy after, we read these off. But they did have them as Miami Heat number 1, Utah Jazz number 2, the Golden State Warriors at number 3, the New York Knicks at number 4, and Chicago Bulls at number 5. Obviously, record has a lot to do with this. All these teams have a pretty good record. They're all of about 5-1, if I'm not mistaken. Guys, my first take on this.
Who's not going to be in the top 10, Roland? Who's not going to be in the top 10 at the end of the year?
Who's going to fall out? All of these guys are going to be there, I think. I think all of these guys stay there. I like all 5 of these teams so far.
In the top 10, right?
When you think about regular season basketball, a lot of it for me just comes down to effort night in and night out. And so teams like the Knicks, you would think would fall out, but they're playing for Thibodeau. As long as they stay healthy, they keep their main pieces. They're going to be competing night in and night out. They're going to win games. Same thing with Miami. They're grinding. I think Ben was talking off air. I like Kyle Lowry too. PJ Tucker was a great addition to that team. Comes in and kind of gives them what they had in Jay Crowder a few years ago when they had that run to the finals in the bubble. Kind of gives them that 3-and-D that they were needing. And Tyler Herro scoring over 20 points per game to start the year. See if that holds up. So I definitely like the Heat this year. Their defensive ratings are the best in the NBA. They're ranked number 1. They're going to be putting the clamps on guys, playing some old school basketball. I like the way that they play, but I don't think any of these teams are going to win the title. I will say that. I like these top 5 to stay in the top half of the NBA and the top 10, but I don't think any of these teams win the title.
I think the Jazz can win. I mean, not the Jazz. I said the Jazz last year. I think the Heat can win the title. I'm back on the Heat from that bubble year. They're good, bro.
Heat is
they're good. I mean, we go 1 through 5. You got Kyle Lowry running the offense. You got Robinson, the sniper from 3-point range. You got Jimmy Butler, who's that do-it-all, best player on your team and clamp down.
Gritty small forward.
You got PJ Tucker, who you use for the one guy who is offensively challenged in your starting 5 lineup, but is nails on defense.
He hits that corner 3. He can still shoot it too.
And then you got Bam Adebayo as come on, that's great. That's great. And then the front runner for 6th man of the year and Tyler Herro coming off the bench, plus those gritty guys at Miami. And then they got
I still got Haslam, baby.
Relax.
And
but they have a top 5 coach in the league as well.
Yeah, Bolstra.
They've been there. More chemistry with the point guard now. I like this Miami Heat team. Heat and Nets, Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not going to pick a winner yet. But it's crazy that the Nets and the Bucks, the Lakers, teams that we would expect to be in the top 5, and they would probably round off the top 10, but they're not in the top 5 right now. We're only 2 weeks in, and some of these teams take the regular season a lot more serious than some of these other teams. So, like the Bulls, I think Roland is the same scenario as the Knicks. Like you mentioned, night in, night out, they're going to play hard. They got Billy Donovan down there coaching the Bulls. A lot of experience. He gets his teams to play hard, and they have a lot of fucking talent. And we go 1 through 5 on the Bulls too.
Glad
the thing is with the Bulls, they're a little too small.
Yeah.
Patrick Williams, their tallest guy, 6'7" on the starting lineup.
Valanciunas is their starting center.
But after that, they're 6'7" at power forward.
That's fine.
They're small.
Bro.
They're
you
small.
got 1 7-footer. You got 1 7-footer who can stretch the floor.
Yeah.
Play small ball.
I just think when it comes to the playoffs and you're playing half-court sets, I think that's where the Bulls are going to get exposed a little more.
But I mean, is there?
And I don't want them to because Lonzo's my guy. But that's what I see.
And Lonzo, they're good, bro.
Yeah, they got a good team.
Is there teams with a lot of length out east though?
The Bucks probably. They got a lot of length out there. And they're still my team in the East. I like the Bucks. I'm still going with Giannis. He convinced me in the playoffs this past year. He convinced me in the finals. I'm not off the Bucks just yet. I think they're probably still my favorite to win the East. And the Nets, they're still out there. So for me, I still probably have Bucks and Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals, but I like the Heat though. I do think that they're that third best team. I think they're the third best team in the East right now. As the Heat at the end of the year, that'll probably be my top 3. And the West, man, the West is wide open. Who knows what's going to happen in the West? Honestly, I really can't say with any confidence what's going to happen in the West, other than my San Antonio Spurs are going to end up in the lottery. So
yeah,
I'm happy about
over under 30 wins after all, rolling on the Spurs.
They're going to stay under that number.
Yeah, the Rockets will be in the lottery as well. Roland, Western Conference, though, what about a surprise team? Like, what about a team that you're interested in watching that you maybe have higher expectations for? Not necessarily to win the title, but maybe, to finally get in the – maybe it's a team that's not in the playoffs. The Sacramento Kings?
The Kings to make the playoffs finally.
The T-Wolves?
It would be the Wolves. It'd be the Wolves, probably with Ant, Cat, and D'Lo over there, and D'Angelo Russell. They're that team on paper. You play with them in 2K. They're probably a good team to use in 2K. They got a lot of good guys to use, but they just necessarily haven't come through on the court, and they haven't really put it together for a full season yet. Ever since Cat has really been the cornerstone of that team. So maybe this year's the year for them to do it. Hate to be basic, but the team out of the West that I'm excited to see how they develop. I want to see the Warriors, man. I want to see Jordan Poole can continue to keep on doing what he's doing. Maybe being that third splash brother. Andrew Wiggins, I saw him play last night, or I was watching the game last night. He can't get too much more play. They need Clay to come back and be that guy because they can't. Will he
be that guy?
Well, he looks good in warm-ups. I know that's one thing. He looks good in warm-ups. He's wearing the game jersey. He's wearing the game jersey in warm-ups now. He's getting closer. I like Clay personally, but I'm interested to see the Warriors, man. I want to see if they can hold up. And the team in the East, again, I'm going to say it, is the Hornets. I love watching them play. Miles Bridges taking a big step forward. He's my front runner for most improved player this year. It's going to be Miles Bridges. I like the way that he's been playing. He's added the 3-ball to his game. He's added a little bit more off the dribble from what I've seen. I'm interested in that Hornets team once again.
All right. I like the Wolves as well. Coming out of the West, I think that maybe they have a decent coach now, and I think that they'll be in the play-in at worst. The Sacramento Kings as well. I know, Justin, you like them. Listen,
Mitchell and the boys, yeah.
But Harrison Barnes, fam, is playing out of his mind.
He's averaging 23 a game.
He's gone over his point total every single game this season, and they still got Tyrese Halliburton. They still got De'Aaron Fox, and they have Mitchell, the rookie, like you mentioned. Luke Walton is still their coach. We'll see if he can, ride the ship and steer them in the right direction. But there is some excitement from some of these teams that we didn't expect much from out West this year.
Anything else on the NBA? I know it's still early, but to talk about it. Anything else you'd like to see?
Oh man, what? I don't know. I want to see
the Nuggets. Can the Nuggets miss the playoffs?
Nah, I don't think the Nuggets miss the playoffs. I think Mike Malone's too good of a coach. They still got the reigning MVP. And I know there's no timetable on Murray right now, but they expect him to be back this year. So.
Okay, higher chance of missing the playoffs, Nuggets or Clippers? Nuggets have Jamal Murray out. Clippers have Kawhi Leonard out.
Probably put it on the Clippers.
Okay. So
I think they're going to miss the playoffs before the Nuggets do.
Justin?
Yeah, I think the Clippers as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of trade happen with the Clippers. I think they're on the nice over there.
It's a good call.
What? I was going to say, what assets do they have to trade? But
I'm not sure, but I just don't see that team staying together at this point. I think they're going to blow it up.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they have the roster without Kawhi to compete at all, to be honest.
All right, guys. Well, let's move on to the UFC. We did have an event this past Saturday. To my knowledge, I had no idea it was free. I had to watch this through a pay stream. Rolling, good card. There was some things outside of the octagon that I like to see. Hasbulla and Abdu Rozik in the crowd. Trying to throw it down, throwing little kicks.
Yeah,
is that something you
Hasbulla.
want to see in the octagon?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind watching that at all. Honestly, seeing Hasbulla go at it with that other guy. I don't know how true it is. I know we were talking about those leaked messages, those leaked DMs. I don't know.
Yeah.
If that was just for show. If that was just for the social media to get going. If Dana White's actually going to buy that fight, if that would happen, or what that fight would even look like. But I think more than anything, it would just be entertainment, right? It'd just be comedic value, if anything. So, yeah, I guess I would watch that fight. I don't know if I'd pay for it, but I would watch it for sure. See what happens.
So where do you put a fight like that? Is that something that opens up a pay-per-view? Is that something you put on a fight night? Because it does seem like there's money behind this little kid. Dana was talking through an interview today. Dana said, I have 6.7 million Instagram followers. And he made an interview, a picture or a video with Hasbulla. 6.4 million views on that video. It's his most viewed video ever. So it seems like there's traction behind this kid. I think the people want to see it. Do you market the hell out of this and put it on a pay-per-view?
I think you put it on a pay-per-view because it's a one-time thing, obviously. You're not going to make
CM Punk fought, right? They got it.
Yeah, you're not going to make
anything can happen.
Yeah, you're not going to make rounds out of this. So you do put it on pay-per-view. You max it out as much as you can. And I'm pretty sure you're going to get a lot of buyers. There's going to add a lot of buyers to that pay-per-view. Maybe you attach it to a week pay-per-view. But I would shoot, if you're really trying to get it going, I'd put it on that December 11th or the one that they're going for in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. But I think also, though, maybe the other option would be to go back to Abu Dhabi or even have it in Russia.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
UFC Russia. Yeah. Since they're from the area, the fandom would go crazy for it.
I forgot
all
about
week,
that.
Though, I did enjoy his videos. I don't know if you were keeping up with it, but he was posting videos of him meeting UFC stars, and he would get a little sneaky punch on them and then laugh about it.
Yeah.
Roland, if you met Hasbulla and he punched you, what is your reaction, bro? Do you just punt the little dude? What happens? I
would just laugh. I would laugh. And
right? You can't beat his ass, right? You have to just laugh it off.
Yeah, laugh and give him a little head rub. Be like, hi, little buddy. I wouldn't get mad at all.
Did you see him in the ring and he's headbutting Khabib?
Dude, that's too funny.
It's too much. I could probably talk about Hasbulla all day if you let me.
I was talking about it with my girlfriend. I was telling her that he's actually an 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid.
19-year-old man. Yeah.
He's not a little boy. He's 19 years old. Kind of reminds me. I know this is a dwarfism, but it reminds me like when I found out about Andy Milonakis.
That's exactly the name that came to mind, because Andy Milonakis, I'm watching him on MTV. And he's doing crazy things, and I'm like, how are they letting this kid do this? And I find out, this dude is like 40 years old.
Yeah, he's like 35, 40.
He's advanced.
Yeah. He's an older guy now. He has to at least be close to 50 at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Andy Milonakis.
Ben, we were just talking about Hasbulla and the whole show that it was outside of the octagon. I don't know if you thought anything of it. I asked Roland, could you ever see that, being a fight on a pay-per-view or a fight night? Could they ever get that in the ring at some point?
Hell no.
It's degrading to the fighters, you think, too much?
As
the ones
much,
who really...
Hey, cuz as much shit as Dana White talks about all these clown boxing fights going on, imagine him getting Hasbulla into a UFC octagon. Come on, fam. He would lose all credibility he's ever had. We all love Hasbulla, but leave that shit for Dave Portnoy and Rough and Rowdy. It doesn't belong in the UFC. There's.
I didn't think CM Punk belonged in the UFC. I thought that was a gimmick. And he put that on.
We're talking about a kid with Benjamin Button disease, not CM Punk. Here, Dustin.
Yeah, I get it.
At least
maybe I'm just I'm too far gone into the Hasbulla world that I'm all about it.
I
wonder how you would line that fight up. What's the betting line on that?
Oh, minus 350 Hasbulla every time.
Just off fucking.
Just off name recognition and brand alone.
For sure. Hell yeah. No, that shit ain't never happening just because.
What happened with the fights? What happened with the fights at UFC 267?
Let's get into it. Let's start off with Hamzat Chimaev
Come chat.
defeats Li Jingling by submission. This fight was, man, all Hamzat. Didn't take a punch, took him down. As you see in the photo, he's talking to Dana White while he's picking him up right there and talking about all the guys he wants to beat. He even mentioned Brock Lesnar's name. This man, through 4 fights, has only been hit twice. I mean, and if you see what he's doing, timing the level change, getting the double, this dude is impressive. He has the tools.
Level of competition.
Yeah, and the level of competition did step up, I think, in this fight.
We needed that Leon Edwards fight rolling.
Yeah. But what I want to say is, I think this guy, he has a lot going for him in the sense that he has this aura around him where I think guys are almost scared to swing at him, right? Like, he just has this whole thing where he just has an aura around him working for him, where you get in the octagon and he just seems a little bit bigger than he really is. And maybe he seems a little bit further away than he really is, and you don't want to swing at him. I don't know. I just feel like guys get in there and it's almost like deer in headlights when they look at.
He has probably what Conor had when Conor was the guy.
He's got the eyeballs. That's for damn sure. He's got the aura around him. He's fucking Terminator. But there's a lot of red flags for those of us who watch this shit.
And I believe you. I believe you. There's levels to this, like you've always said.
I've always said that, Roman.
And maybe we're gonna see this soon enough, because I feel like we are with the names that they're throwing at this guy.
And listen, there's no doubt that it was a great performance. Li Jingliang has never just been handled like that. Never. It was quick. It was easy. I do agree that there is some level of intimidation going into the octagon with this guy. But once you get into the top 5, the guys that are fighting for gold, I think that shit goes out the window.
The Burns, the Covingtons, the Usmans, those guys.
McGregor did it to Aldo, but that was just so much like to where Aldo just wanted to, go crazy on him. He lost composure. This guy doesn't talk the crap that McGregor does, but he just has that scariness to him. You know what I mean?
And the way he's put people out, I mean, I would be scared too.
Let's matchmake, guys. Let's matchmake. Okay, because the Leon Edwards fight, I'm gonna throw some names at you all, and you all tell me who you all like best. The Leon Edwards fight would have done it for me. I think had he fought Leon Edwards when he was supposed to, before he had to pull out because of C19, I think if he would have beat Leon, he would have been next for the title shot. So are we giving him a title shot off of this win and all the hype and the eyeballs he has around him? Are we giving him the winner of Usman and Covington? Are we giving him the loser if it's Covington? Are we giving him Covington? Are we giving him Gilbert Burns?
I don't like any of those names for him, actually.
Who do you like, Justin?
Who? Because
who I like.
Those are 3 out of the top 5. So who?
Well, he just fought number 11? Number 11.
This is the fast track, fam. This is pay-per-view city here.
What I think that I would like to see, like the rest of these guys, the gatekeeper of the welterweight division, Neil Magny. That's a fair matchup. A guy who's lengthy and not very good to take down either. I would like to see that. After that, shoot him up into the top 5. Vicente Luque or Burns, or if Covington loses, one of those.
It can't be Diaz. Notice how I didn't say Diaz, and that's a fight.
Diaz already says no.
Yeah, and he's not that stupid. I mean, the guy is not the smartest, but when it comes to fights, he's not that stupid.
I think in terms of matchmaking, Luque would be a pretty good fight stylistically. I'd like to see those guys. I think it'd be someone would end up knocked out, I think, in that fight. But the question I asked for Luque is, do you think he's like in a trajectory where he shouldn't be like punching down in the rankings per se?
He weighed in as an alternate. He's weighing as an alternate tomorrow. So no, Luque should fight Diaz or wait for the title, and that's it.
See, that's what
you don't go fight number 11 if you're Luque.
So next. It would be Neil Magny for me. I agree with Justin. I think that makes the most sense.
Gilbert Burns,
but Ben, you brought up a good point. Pay-per-view
Burns does need a fight.
So then you do throw him against Burns.
You throw him against Burns, co-main event to a pay-per-view. The winner gets a title shot again. And that's a hell of a test because we know that Burns can wrestle and we know that Burns can box. So if you annihilate Gilbert Burns, nobody is going to be saying you got the fast track to the title, winning 5 fights in the UFC, getting a title shot, even though it took Kamaru Usman 11 fights to get a title shot.
I would like to see Magny, for the other reason, put that as the main event, make it 5 rounds. I do want to see if this man, Hamzat, goes 5 rounds. He had a big bout with C19. I want to know if the lungs have been blown up or does he still have it. I want to see him tested. We didn't get to see that at all this weekend. I need to see that a little more. That's why Magny makes the most sense for me.
This guy's floor is Magny, though. This guy's floor is Magny. Magny
has been the gatekeeper.
No, but Magny has never fought for gold. Fuck Magny. Magny
wants to fight. Not a lot of people are saying Hamzat's name. Magny is.
Hey, listen, they're not going to have a choice. If they want to fight for a title, they're going to have to take this fight, or he's going to get the title shot because they didn't want to fight him. And that's the game that Dana White's going to play. Neil Magny,
hope so. I want to see this guy.
does nothing, bro. Neil Magny has never fought for gold. I get you that he's a gatekeeper, but this guy is championship or bust.
Yeah, I think if he was going to fight Neil Magny, maybe it would have been this fight.
Yes. It's got to be Gilbert Burns, if not a title shot. Gilbert Burns.
Burns needs an opponent. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. Let's see if it happens. Burns is, protective of that 3 spot. He just came off a win himself. Let's see if he does as Roland say punch down.
I think he's at 2 spot.
Or 2 spot, yeah, because he's champion 1, 2.
Usman. Yeah. So, he kind of needs to fight somebody.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the next one. Islam Makhachev defeats Dan Hooker by sub the first round. I thought Hooker was going to put up more of a fight here, but it was all Islam, and he's starting to look a lot like his predecessor, Habib.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, Justin. I thought he was going to put up more of a fight. I thought it would have been a little bit more competitive. I understand Islam was a huge favorite going into the fight, so probably this was how it was going to end regardless. But I did think Hooker was going to put up more of a fight. He came in with that whole, oh, shit, I'm taking the fight on a couple weeks' notice. He's coming in on that swag of a victory.
Who had he beat?
So, I forgot who his last fight was against.
He had just won a fight and he won.
Yeah, he just won a fight.
Nasrat Hakaprest. I can't say his name, but it was that guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Dan Hooker legit? Is my question.
Yeah, I think he's legit, but Islam is just another.
Put him out in the first.
I mean, he looked like a fucking. He looked like a bum. He looked like he didn't want to be in the octagon with Chandler.
Well, he got the deer in the headlights. He got flat-footed. Everything.
And this is another one right here.
Islam. I don't know. I didn't know if I was watching him or Khabib out there.
Roland, and Roland. The other thing with Islam that is starting to show to me is in previous fights I seen him fall in love with the striking a little too much and keep the game standing. This time he was like, nope, not having any of that. I'm too dominant. Let's get it to the floor. Took him down. Game over after that. So this dude is a very good grappler. He's very game.
I know you're not a huge Khabib fan, but are you buying into the Khabib as a coach now? Do you think he is the cheat code that Islam's saying that he is in the corner?
He did tell him step over that head so you get that torque on the Kimura.
That's day one shit though, man. That's been around since the early 2000s.
But he didn't do it until he was told. I'm starting to buy in, and I hate Khabib.
That's day. I don't even do jiu-jitsu, but there's no way you're gonna get the torque unless you put your leg over his head. And that's a hard move to finish. A Kimura. Not a lot of people do Kimuras. It was super early in the fight. They're very dry. Arms aren't slippery. So if you lock in and you're just stronger than the guy, you got him. I don't think Dan Hooker's legit, man. I've seen him get smoked. Not even make it halfway through the first round twice in the last year. Dan Hooker, to me, gatekeeper at best, bro. Dan Hooker is not that good. We need to see
downgraded.
We need to see Makhachev fight. Maybe Dan Hooker was number 5. I don't know what his ranking was. We need to see him fight a top 5 guy.
Yeah.
So you're not with I've got a 9-fight win streak. Let me fight for the title, Islam Makhachev. Because he was talking about that right then and there.
No. The winner of Gaethje and Camarada should fight for the title.
And Chandler?
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that later. Yeah, he's got to win one more.
Okay.
And he's going to be getting the push because of the gym that he trains at with DC and Khabib as his coach. So if anybody has a fast track, I'm not necessarily a fast track. It's a 9-fight win streak, but you get a little bit of brownie points with those guys in your corner.
It was so hard for him to break the top 10. No one wanted to fight him, and then somebody gave him a fight. He wins, and then
once you're there, though, people got to fight you, bro.
Yeah, they have to,
or else you're just gonna.
I'm just saying this was no fast track. This was earned for him.
Oh yeah,
the 9 fights. All right, moving on. Peter Yan defeats Corey Sandhagen by decision. Pretty decisive win here, 49-46 by all 3 judges for the interim bantamweight championship. Guys, this feels like the real thing. This doesn't feel like interim. I know the title says interim, but the one that Aljo has holding, that's not the real title. This was a title defense, in my opinion.
Hey, man, my Aljo played cash last time.
Yeah, so did mine.
I don't know what you're talking about, cuz.
Justin, you do have a good point. This did feel like a real championship. Corey Sandhagen, gamer, coming off a complete war with TJ Dillashaw, which didn't seem too long ago. I mean, this
summer, it was July.
He came off a war, signed up for this fight. I know Aljo pulled out, but it was convincing. The scores to me are correct. 49-46 unanimous. I just got to give a lot of props to Peter Yan. He's not flashy, but he's super, super solid at boxing. He has a really good high guard. He gets a lot of shots deflected, and he was controlling that fight, striking. And, Corey Sandhagen is an all-world striker, and he was getting outclassed.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Canelo in that picture where he's jabbing Sandhagen a little bit. But Sandhagen came out strong. I think it was a little bit of what we saw when Aljamain fought Peter Yan, and Aljamain came out throwing the kitchen sink in the first 2 rounds. But Peter Yan can keep that shit up for 25 minutes.
Got the gas tank.
Yeah, Sandhagen seemed to slow down. Sandhagen won round 1. Round 2, Peter Yan, and bam, Peter Yan looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, Peter Yan was cracking. He was cracking. I'm an avid listener of the Kenny Florian and John Anik podcast. They have the Ray Longo Minute every week.
It's the best minute.
Yeah, Ray Longo is Aljamain Sterling's head coach. And, he was very down and out on Peter Yan when he needed Sterling, and Sterling won however he won. But he said, this fight got so much harder to prepare for. Peter Yan is a real fucking deal, bro.
Absolutely.
And when he fights, when he fights, and not that Sandhagen is much of a wrestler. If anybody's going to take him down, it's going to be Aljo. I don't know if he'll keep him down. Yeah, I don't know if he'll keep him down. But when they rematch to unify the belts, Peter Yan's going to be about a 2-3 to 1 favorite, bro.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a big favorite, bro.
I just want to say, with Sandhagen, guys, are we just out on Sandhagen now?
Nah,
it's 3 losses to the top 3.
He should have
lost to Dillashaw, lost to Sandhagen, lost to Peter Yan, and lost to Aljo. Aljo choked him out within a minute.
Yes, within a minute. Yeah, that was quick. But we're going to talk about a main event where a girl got knocked out within a minute, and she's here rematching for the title also. Those don't tell you much. That tells you what you need to know. Then Aljamain Sterling will fuck up Peter Yan because he finished this dude in under a minute.
No, but what I'm saying is he's already fought the top 3. He hasn't beat any of those 3.
This was competitive. 49-46. I know that
49-46 competitive?
That means he won 2 rounds, right?
1 round. 50-45 means you won none. 49-46 means you got 1.
Okay, so
he 48-47 means he gets 2.
Here's what I'll say. He beat TJ Dillashaw. There's a reason. Hey, he lost. So you're telling me
control. He beat him.
No, he didn't. You're telling me that he lost to Dillashaw, but
that's what happened. That's factual.
Hold on.
My bad.
But Dillashaw was so hurt from beating this dude that this guy got a title shot before Dillashaw.
He was the only one available.
Because he
the knees had to get reconstructive surgery.
Because he hurt him so bad, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That doesn't make you win. Yeah, you inflicted more damage, but the fight is not about who.
It was a split decision loss against Dillashaw. It was a toss-up fight. It was a 50-50 in where this guy looked clean and Dillashaw looked like Halloween had come in fucking August, bro.
That's funny.
I'm saying he's a gamer. Listen,
he is, but I'm out. I'm out on him. He's not going to be the champion of the bantamweight division.
Peter Yan is that good. That's what I'll say.
That's exactly what I'm going towards, alluding to.
Peter Yan is younger than Sandhagen too. That was another thing I was a little surprised about.
He's
going to be here for a while.
Absolutely.
And we saw Jose Aldo take this guy into fucking deep water, bro, about a year ago. That's what's crazy.
Jose Aldo is something else, man. All right, moving on to the light heavyweight championship. Glover Teixeira defeats Jan Polish Power Blachowicz by submission.
Damn.
And
one-way traffic.
But here's the other thing when I'm seeing this fight, and I hate to be this guy. None of these guys hold a candle to John Jones. That's what that's the most I
But
get
it's
from this
awesome
fight.
to see it. It's awesome to see it
Yeah.
happen.
Oh, it is.
This is the most open division in the UFC, bro.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. But Yuri Prohashka, however you say his last name, I think he's gonna mess up Glover.
Well, if Yuri Prohashka gets taken to the ground, Glover's gonna.
Glover has it. Yeah.
Just listen. John Blachowicz was a 3-1 favorite. You could have gotten Glover at plus 270, plus 275, and he looked like a 5-1 favorite as soon as that bell rang. Great for Glover. He wins the belt at what, Justin? 43 years old?
42 years old.
42. And
lifelong journey, never gave up.
And it just lined up perfectly, man. Jan Blachowicz was a journeyman himself. He just had to fight Dom Reyes, who's not
he was a middleweight fighter coming over to light heavy.
Yeah, who's not that good for the belt. And then he fought a middleweight to defend his belt against Izzy and took him down, and he's not even the wrestler. So the odds were a little messed up by the Vegas odds makers, and we're being real because he hadn't really been that tested to make him a 3-1 favorite. That's insane. Glover will probably be an underdog against Jury just because of the hype that Jury has on him, and it's going to be a hell of a fight. Dana already confirmed that that's what's next. Blachowicz doesn't get an automatic rematch, doesn't hold that kind of weight, so I'm excited. Glover didn't take much damage. He said he's kind of ready to get in there in like 2 months. So, to start the new year, we could see him defending already. That'd be rowdy.
Yeah, no, big props to Glover, 42 years old, getting the light heavyweight strap. Really a perfect. I mean, it's not the ending to his career. Obviously, he's gonna defend the belt, but what a way to cap off an illustrious career. Like Ben said, never wavered, never stopped fighting.
20 years, bro.
This was the perfect opportunity. The stars aligned, if you will, because he had the perfect guy, the perfect champion to take out, and Jan Blachowicz,
36-year-old
journeyman, if you will. The whole Corey Anderson thing was going on there too. If you want to compare these guys, and really what they were. Was Jan Blachowicz really that good? Don't want to take anything away from Jan because he had to go on a little run to capture the belt himself.
It looked like a really off night, though, Roland.
Yeah, off night, and maybe it was just Glover's night too, though, man.
But Glover's wins, he usually goes to hell and then just comes back, bro. He cruised here. This was, John Blachowicz, and he said it himself. It was an off night. We've seen guys have off nights.
Yeah,
but he was bad.
And Justin led the topic with this, and I didn't want to lead it with this, but I do agree in the sense that it's okay, but it does show how great John Jones was to be running that division for as long as he did, because these guys that are champions or trying to take over, it's just they're not in the same class. I don't think we're going to see anybody do what he did to the division. It's too talented, and he got out at the right time too.
But the thing, you could also play devil's advocate and say, man, maybe he just defended that times because the talent at this division is just, you've got 43-year-old champions. In what other division, do you get that nowadays? In all the other divisions besides heavyweight, guys have to retire by the time that they're 36. So for John Jones, he decided to move on. He could have retired the champion of this division. Let's be clear, if you wanted to keep making that weight, but the challenges weren't there. And it's good for guys like Glover who have done this for 2 decades to finally get to fucking have Dana White strap him up one time, bro.
Yeah.
And no one can take it away from him. It's a legit title in my book.
But what he should do is have a little parade, man. Have 5 months. Have 5 months, bro. Don't go fight in January. I don't agree with that at all. Even though he didn't take damage, listen, go back to Brazil. Take the belt and your family back to Brazil.
Go to the favela.
Yeah, and
celebrate.
And this is a guy who trained out of his garage, bro.
Yeah, another thing.
insane, and jiu-jitsu, the power of jiu-jitsu, because once you get on the ground, it's a whole nother world. Yes, every round starts standing up.
Deep waters.
But there's these guys like Makachev who needs to take this route. Stop with the bullshit. Get right to the takedown, and let's get to work. Let's get to work.
All right. Well, guys, UFC 267, that's a wrap for that. But guess what? UFC 268 is already here. Don't have to wait a month.
We want more.
You just wait a few sleeps and it's here. Let's talk about the opening fight, which I think is an absolute banger of a fight. You got one of my favorites, Michael Chandler, in there versus Justin Gaethje. Both guys who like to push the pace and never take a step back at all. I don't expect any wrestling. I'll be upset if I see it. I want a knockout. I want to finish. And I think this is the fight that can deliver something like that. Roland, I know you have Gaethje as your winner here. Tell us how you think he's going to get it done.
Much like you said, I just expect violence. I think these guys are going to go down swinging. Somebody's going to get knocked out. The only thing that does, kind of concern me for Gaethje is the fact that we haven't seen him since that Khabib fight, which seems like it was ages ago there in Abu Dhabi.
Wow,
I'm a little concerned there, but I do like Gaethje. I'm not too big on Chandler as a guy in the UFC. So, that's where I'm going.
Rolling.
2020, October 4th. It's almost going to be over a year and a month since we've seen him.
Rolling. Justin Gaethje, 2-1 favorite, over under 1.5 rounds. The over 1.5 juice, minus 130. So Gaethje as a 2-1 favorite. We just saw Chandler, challenge for the belt in a fight that if he had any sort of fight IQ, he would have won. Once he dropped Oliveira in that first round, follows him to the ground like an idiot instead of making him stand back up. I like the under. And the over is juiced at 1.5. I think that this is a first rounder. I think that somebody's going to get knocked the fuck out for damn sure. And you get that at even money. I think it's going to be a hell of a fight. Like you, I agree. I think that Gaethje is the more experienced, the more seasoned guy, the more tested guy, in the UFC. He's only lost to Khabib, Eddie Alvarez, and Dustin Poirier. All three guys have been the champions at one point in the UFC. Michael Chandler came, got that win against Dan Hooker. I already told you how I feel about Dan Hooker.
You devalue Dan Hooker, so that win doesn't mean much to you.
It's like when the college teams beat that team with a very high ranking, week 1, week 2, but by week 7 that team's not even top 25 anymore, and that win don't mean shit. That's how I feel about Chandler's win. I know he's your guy, Justin, I don't know what way you're leaning in this fight, and they're kind of the same fighter, but we've also seen Michael Chandler against Brett Primus in Bellator have trouble with leg kicks, and we know who has some of the rowdiest leg kicks in the UFC. If he was smart, Justin Gaethje would hit that leg and try and turn it off, and then put his lights out. I got Gaethje as well, but I like it ending in the first round.
For me, path to victories, Chandler's got to do it in the first. If this fight somehow gets out of that first, it's going to be Gaethje. All 4 rounds, I would give Gaethje after that. Or 3 rounds. It's only 3-round fight. So
it favors Chandler that it's only 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Because Gaethje would be better in the later.
And Chandler's game plan, you can tell, it's to get him out.
Do you like the whole thing that Chandler's been doing? People have done it before. Oh, meet me in the middle or something like that.
I just want to back out some B-word.
That's their 2 styles, bro. If you're going to do that, this is the fight to do it in.
For sure. I
love Michael Chandler. I'm all in on Michael Chandler.
Roland.
You can't do wrong in my eyes.
Under at even money, Roland. I'm just saying, bro, if he's talking spicy like that, and we know Gaethje's reputation, somebody's lights are going out.
Gaethje came out and said that he's not going to be influenced by anybody.
Yeah, but Gaethje throws bombs.
Yeah, he does. And I like it too. Like Justin said, if the fight goes on, it favors Gaethje into deeper waters.
And crazy that it's a curtain jerker for the pay-per-view.
Well, it made sense for what Roland had told us earlier. It was for Trevor Whitman to not have back-to-back fights.
Yeah.
So
he was going to be real tired. He could have just stayed octagon side and let,
Well, you want to be back there warming up your fighter, and it wouldn't give him the time to do that. So I guess Daniel's looking out for
we're all on Gaethje here. All right.
Well, no. If it's first round, it's Chandler.
You got to pick, bro.
Then give me Chandler. I'm not going to pick against my guy. I can't. Give me Chandler.
And you know what, Justin? At those odds, let me just read his odds to you because I told you Gaethje's, but Chandler is plus 175.
Some ring rust,
so almost
maybe
2-1, and what you think is going to be a firefight in the first, not bad odds.
All right. Moving on to the grudge match, the rematch, round 2 of Rose Namajunas, the champion, versus Zhang Weili. As you can see here, a lot of similar opponents that they fought. The last time they did fight, though, Rose was the best over Zhang. That big old face kick that got her out, that I guess front kick you would call it, knocked her out. Was it the second round or the first round that she did it?
I think it was the first. The fight didn't even go over a minute.
Yeah, I think it was the first.
We didn't learn much. I think this is going to be a rematch worth watching.
Yeah, the odds have moved in favor of Weili. She opened up as the underdog. It was like it was like plus 110. Now she's like minus 120, I think, on some books. So the odds are moving towards Weili. This is going to be an interesting fight. Rose has gotten better, as with Trevor Whitman. Her striking has gotten better from those early losses. You know, she took Joanna down twice. Andrade, she got her rematch and won there. We didn't learn enough, though. I think it is fair to see these odds moving towards Weili. Ben, what do you think here?
I'm not very good, picking Rose Namajunas fights, just because I had that, with the first time she won the belt and how she reacted after she had to defend the belt for the first time. Yeah. Seems like now she's in a complete different headspace. Seems like she's more comfortable being the champion. I mean, we know that she shows up for the big fights, man. When the lights are bright, and we saw her win the belt in Madison Square Garden before. I think it might have been against Joanna, or was the last fight against Weili in Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, Joanna champion. I think it was under the bright lights.
I think she's fought several times in New York, and she hasn't lost in New York.
Thug Rose.
Isn't that when she almost got hit by the dolly one of those times by Connor's ass? Wasn't that in Brooklyn?
I think she might have been on the bus. I think she might have been.
Yeah, she was in the bus, so she was fighting that night too. I'm gonna go with Rose this time, and I think that Zhang Weili is a machine. I think that we've talked about how she might be built in a lab, but Rose Namajunas seems to be comfortable. She seems to be comfortable being the champion and not second guessing herself. We saw her yelling, "I'm the best, I'm the best," before her last fight. Maybe she believes that shit now, because before she didn't believe that shit.
She's drinking her own Kool-Aid, and I think
now
this is
she's
the
drinking
downfall
the Kool-Aid
of her a little bit. I think she's, and I'm a Rose guy, but I'm seeing it on the embedded. She's drinking that juice.
I think this is going to be a good rematch. I'm glad that they did this rematch. Weili, she was proving to be a pretty good champion. I like the way that she took the belt. She's winning fights in convincing fashion. But the one thing that worries me about Weili, and this is the reason why I'm going with Rose, is because I've already seen Rose bounce back from losing. I've already seen her bounce back and come back and take the belt back. Right. I haven't seen it from Weili. And the thing that kind of worries me, maybe it's a good thing, maybe it proves to be good, but did she completely switch camps? Because all that I see her now is training with Henry Cejudo all the time.
She's training in Arizona now.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's maybe a little mental block that she has to come over, because to me, whenever you're this train and you're just going and going and going and going, and then you get stopped the way that you did against Rose, there's a little mental game to get through, I think there. So that's why I'm leaning Rose. I think Rose is confident in herself right now. I think that's going to be to her benefit. I think she proved to be the more, these are two world-class strikers, but they're world classes for a reason. She's the better one. I think she's proven to be that. So that's where I'm leaning. I like Rose to defend her title and to keep it going.
Yeah, I'm just worried about Rose because I am a fan of hers, and I've been watching the embeddeds, and this week I just see her just almost a little overconfident and not giving respect to the opponent that I wish she would be giving. It doesn't seem like she's as mentally game as I would want her to be. And I don't know if I'm just reading into it too much because I do want her to win so bad, but just feels like she might be overlooking Zhang Weili, and Zhang Weili is not an opponent that you want to overlook by any means.
Not at all.
Yeah. But then again, it could just be me being a homer. But you did say Rose, Roland, that you had Rose?
Yeah, I got Rose.
Ben, you're on Rose as well?
I'm on Rose.
So I'm on Rose too, so that's 3 for Rose. She's definitely losing because all 3 of us are on Rose.
And the line's moving against us too. So if you're a believer in line movement, I mean, Wei Lee minus 125, Rose minus 105. When the champ's underdog, it's never good news.
Josh Johnson and a quarterback for the Jets.
Oh,
White story is over. Matt White story is over.
He comes in, throws a TD, and now he's hurt. Ching! Ah, look! Oh, he's warming up on the sideline, baby.
He's not letting this opportunity pass him by.
Hell no! This is my team. He's saying.
Last fight of the night, the ultimate grudge
Last
match.
one.
All grudge matches. Kamaruddin Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare versus Colby Chaos Covington. Not a lot of activity on Covington's side after that Usman loss. He had Tyron Woodley. Woodley ends up breaking his rib. I think it's in the first or second round. That fight is over. On the other hand, you have Usman with a little bit more activity. Did fight the same fighter twice in Masvidal. Convincing wins on both of them. One to decision and the other one just by murder, if you will, because it was a bad knockout. And he had a test against Gilbert Burns. I believe he lost that first round by all the counts.
He got rocked.
He got rocked, and he pushed through and found a way. What an impressive win. After I saw that fight, I said, this man, I know it's taken me so long to come onto the Kamaru Usman train, but I have to give him his due. He is the real deal.
I'm tired of both of y'all doing this. I'm tired.
I learned my lesson. I was in timeout for this.
Hey, Justin, this is the exact same thing that happened with Tony Ferguson.
Not me. I was down for Kukui. I was always down.
The sunglasses.
Hey, listen, Usman. I've been on the Kamaru Usman train.
I will give you this for a long time ago. We talked about him. You were on the Usman train. I 100% give you that.
Listen, the best thing that this guy could have done for his career, and the best thing that could have happened to his career was him getting matched up against Gilbert Burns and making him move gyms. Because now he's a fucking killer. Before he was Marty Snoozman.
Fake newsman.
Now he's breaking jaws, knocking out George Masvidal, who's never been knocked out. He said he made George Masvidal say, "Yo, I give him props. I didn't see that shit coming."
Sent him into next year.
Fam, he had
shadow around him.
It was one of the knockouts of last year. I mean, all the sweat that was coming off Masvidal when he hit that punch. Listen, Usman is the real deal. He's already broken this dude's jaw once, and the odds are showing that as he's a 3-1 favorite. It was a pretty game fight until he, dropped him and
I think Colby was winning that fight.
Wow,
I think so too, and I think Colby's right when he was talking about that eye poke wasn't an eye poke. You covered the wrong eye. That liver shot, you said it was a nut shot. Wasn't a nut shot.
True, but
Colby Covington hasn't dropped.
But he still got his.
But what I'm talking about, Usman, he's the one who took him the furthest.
Yeah, for sure. My whole thing here with this fight is, like you laid out with the whole list of fights that Covington has had, just Tyron Woodley after Usman, this is a money fight. It's a money grab for me. I don't think there's much else for Usman to do in the welterweight division. So you run this fight back. Granted, I don't think Covington has done anything to drop too far in the rankings because, like I just said, he was probably, in my eyes, beating Usman before he got knocked out or had that stoppage in the 5th round. I just don't see what else or why else you would make this fight if it's not for the money.
It was a close fight until that happened. Yeah. So, I mean, like let's say this goes to the decision and Usman wins, they would have run it back right away. They only didn't run it back because this asshole Covington was chasing Dana White down at the blackjack tables in Vegas, and then he got his ass knocked out. So he said, fuck you, I'm going to give a couple other people a shot. But, bro, let's look at their strength of schedule. And I know the difference is Gilbert Burns and Masvidal in Usman's, but all of those were stand-up fights, and those guys are dangerous. Damian Maia? I mean, come on. I know
they both fought him.
Okay, but he's not on his last. He's not on his last 5 or last 6.
Yeah,
I feel
more activity towards Usman.
Yeah, and later in time.
Fighting
Rafael-
Masvidal twice though, once on 6 days.
But stand-up fights. But stand-up. Would Colby fight Masvidal in a stand-up fight? Let's be honest.
I'm pretty sure. I think he would beat him though.
It's not like
no,
he wouldn't beat him standing up. It's not like Usman.
No, not in a stand-up fight. I just think he would beat him in a fight.
Well, that's fine, but Usman beat him standing up twice.
No, not really. He wrestled him against the cage that first fight. He made sure he got his decision. The second time around, that was pure stand-up.
I'm saying, bro, this guy has evolved.
Oh, he has. No one's going to deny you on that. Trevor Whitman has really made him a complete fighter because the wrestle base was real, but the hands are real now too.
Now the hands are too real, and Colby Covington left the American top team and went
kind of forced out. He was forced out.
Possibly went to MMA Masters. Now he's over there getting coached by a bunch of filthy Brazilians, as he likes to fucking call them. But now all his head coaches are Brazilians. I don't think that he's evolved at all. I think Usman gets him out of there, before the end of the third. Colby Covington
Usman gets him out
inside the distance for you.
Inside the distance, plus 105, plus 110, Kamaru Usman.
Give me Usman.
And you can even play both sides and possibly get away with it if Colby Covington sneaks out a decision, because 3-1 odds, the only chance Covington, and then if you put Covington by decision, you get even better odds because that's the only.
Yeah, Covington is not finishing Usman.
Only path he has, and then if he's 3-1 just to win straight up, imagine what he is by decision. You call it exactly, you might get plus 500. Might be the way to go. Covington by decision, Usman inside the distance. That's how I would go.
I like Covington as a fighter. I like his fighting style, but he's not beating Usman. It's not going to decision either. It's going to be a finish. Usman has gotten better. When you talk about what you said, who's evolved more, we have seen the proof in the pudding with Usman with that knockout over Masvidal. It's going to be Usman inside the distance, unfortunately. And I wanted to see Covington win just to see a third fight because that first fight, man, what a fight. What an awesome
one of the fights of the year.
Fight to watch. Fight of the year, in fact. But, yeah.
Free on YouTube if y'all want to check it out, too. I retweeted it.
It'll be Usman, unfortunately. Nigerian Nightmare. He's going to clean out this division. And like you said, when he's talking about Hamzat, he said, I might not be around. I want to see those kind of fights, though. Those are the only names that are left that he's untested with. Maybe a Luque also, but man, he's done this division, and now he's lapping these boys, like he says. It is what it is.
I mean, come on. He has 2 more fights in him. If Kamzat wins 1 more fight, whatever. Colby Covington, I'll tell you one thing. He's funny as hell.
He is, bro. He's entertaining.
I'd like to see Usman maybe move up and wait. Maybe
he would not fight Izzy.
Not unless the money's right.
No, even if the money's right, fam, you got to have those Nigerian champs. There's 0%.
Yeah, he did say it's better to have 2 Nigerian champs than one having both.
He'll never fight Izzy. He'll never fight Izzy.
So you don't believe what he said this week? If the money's right, we would do it. You're not buying into that.
He would do anything.
I don't think he fights Izzy.
And if he does, you better fantasy book this though, Ben. I want to fantasy book this.
And if he does, those motherfuckers are gonna play patty cake worse than Izzy did with Anderson. So you better take that over because ain't no way one of them's knocking the other one out, bro.
So if they fight each other, you don't think you think a draw? What are you saying here?
There's more of a chance of Hasbulla fighting in the UFC than these 2 guys fighting each other.
Give me Hasbulla all day.
Okay, but let's fantasy book it. Let's say it were to happen, and they really went at it. Strength to strength.
Usman's the favorite.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
I think he beats him too.
Maybe even 2-1 because we saw John Blachowicz get Izzy down. I know Usman's a little bit lighter, but his wrestling there's levels. Like he's been wrestling. If he gets Izzy down, there's no way Izzy gets up. And Usman is smart enough to where he's going to take the fight to where he can win it.
Yeah. I agree. Well, that wraps up UFC 268. There is some other fights on this one that are exciting. Our boy Shane Burgos and Billy Quarantillo, I think is how you say his name. That is a banger of a fight. You also have Frankie Edgar and Chito Vera on the main card as well. I think Chito gets through Frankie quite easily. I think Frankie's on the end of his career here. And I got to give it to my guy Shane.
Perea, I forget his first name. Alex Perea, he's fighting too in the undercard.
That's guy to beat Adesanya.
There you go.
First fight in the UFC. Let's see if he's an excellent kickboxer. let's see if he can keep the fight standing up. But he has been training to get into the UFC. So,
well,
see
guys,
what
just
happens.
remember.
Are y'all going to be watching the fights?
Shoot, I'm not sure yet, but I'm not missing this card for sure.
You might have to come to New Braunfels, Roland.
Yes, sir.
If worst comes to worst, you might have to come to New Braunfels. Justin, what do you got planned?
Well, we do have a service for my cousin, so I might be out of town. It's looking like that as of right now, unless something changes. But yeah, I'll probably be in Dallas to watch this one more than likely.
I'll probably hit Cosmo for the link.
There you go. I'll give you a link. Guys, just remember,
Dana's coming for you, bro.
Yeah,
there's plays out here that we've
title shot because he's giving out links to his dad. You guys hear about that, Cosmo?
Oh yeah, he did. He said that.
Yeah.
Guys, just remember, as Ben said, there was plays here. He liked Usman inside the distance. Gave you Kobe if a decision at plus 5,000 or 500, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Remember, you can play this at BetKing Online. If you need any help, contact one of us. But if not, it's Twitter at BetKing Online. They are giving you a promotion. If you use the code WTBS, you do receive a promotional bonus. So it's only to your advantage to use that promo code.
Oh, well.
Guys, we'll see you Sunday, right?
Yeah, Sunday we'll be live with some super contest picks and updates. Yeah. Ron will be joining us. Shout out to Ron.
I won't be here, but I know these guys will be holding it down.
Yeah, we'll be here. Ron's getting married too, so he's been busy as hell, but he'll be with us Sunday. You know, Justin will be on the road. Like RIP to your cousin Justin. Yeah. Sorry for your loss, cuz. But yeah, we'll be back Sunday live, 10 a.m.
Sunday.
All right, we'll see you Sunday.